one of the things that really that really drives my work is this idea that liturgy is really formative. It's the one practice that the whole church is engaged in, and we do it every week.
Yeah.
That kind of repeated practice shapes us over time, and so I'm really excited and really think this is an important issue for churches, because what we do together week after week is shaping our vision of God. It's shaping our vision of the world. It's shaping our vision of who we are and what kind of life and mission God's called us to.
Amen. So what do you think this course will particularly accomplish in directing us on those paths?
Yeah, thanks. So this course is going to have three sort of distinct parts to it. We're gonna first and foremost lay biblical foundations, and we're going to do a walk through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, looking at how the practice of worship develops in the history of redemption. So, in other words, we're going to try to discern together what does God reveal to us about the way He desires to be worshipped, and how has He provided the means by which we can know Him and engage in relationship with Him, not just individually but also corporately together as the people of God. We want to see how those patterns develop and should be the foundation for everything that we're doing in worship. So there's a biblical component first and foremost, but we're also then going to look through the history of the church to try to understand how has worship changed and developed over the last 2,000 years. All of us have actually been shaped in some way by some kind of church tradition, maybe multiple church traditions, depending on our experience. And so it's really important in understanding where we are and who we are in the present to understand how we got here.
Yes.
The past is really very formative for that, and I think that studying history will give us an opportunity to understand what some of those factors have been. What are the things that we just assume, or as the right way to do it, or the wrong way to do it, or we bring lots of assumptions to bear that have a lot to do with the traditions, the historical traditions that have shaped us. So we want to try to understand the fullness of how God has been at work in His church for 2,000 years. But then finally, there's a practical theology component. We'll spend the last couple days trying to synthesize lessons from Scripture and from church history in developing a practical theology of the different dimensions of worship. So we'll look at different dimensions, like how to think about the order of worship, or the structure of what we're doing together. How to think about music and make sound decisions about how we worship God in song. We'll look at the Lord's Supper and the role that should play in the service. We'll look at things like the liturgical calendar. Is there a place for having annual rhythms of celebrations together? How do we think about the environment of worship? Is there anything that we need to think through about the space and what we do with the spaces in which we worship to help us? So practical topics like that, we'll try to pull together a practical theology of worship.
Yeah. Again, Dr. Farley, I'm deeply grateful that you'll be able to come to our school and bless us with this, with your experience, with your study, and share with us here in Central Indiana. If you're watching this video and you're a pastor or a worship leader in Central Indiana, you can audit this course for free. It's the last week of October, and I can't commend it highly enough. I've actually never seen a course like this offered at other schools. As we at Indianapolis Theological Seminary think about how can we bless local churches, I was just thinking that, we gather every Sunday to do this thing called the Sunday gathering for corporate worship. Why do we do what we do? It's been said that we study history not just to know who did what, where, and when, but we study history to know who we are. How did we get here, and understand ourselves, and therefore be more intentional in how we lead the people of God. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. Again, it's the last week of October going into early November, and you can learn more at indysem.org and how you as a pastor or worship leader can register and audit for free. Grace and peace. Thanks again, Dr. Farley.
Yeah, thank you very much.